Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We were having some technical difficulties to get this webinar started. But now that we have started, I would like to welcome you to this webinar where we'll explore load balancing AWS with Progress Kemp Load Balancer. Before we start, I'll provide a brief introduction so that you'll know who I am. My name is Nasir, and I am the principal sales engineer focusing on two key products with Progress Software, which is based in Burlington, Massachusetts. What are these two products, you might ask? One might be a dead giveaway, but let's get into them. Oh, yes, by the way, that is me. The first product is Progress Flowmon. It's an industry leading AI based network detection and response, an NDR tool that detects hidden threats in your network. And the way it detects it is by utilizing flow data. Flowmon focuses on minimizing an IT's attack surface by bridging the gap between perimeter and endpoint security, coupled with providing brilliant network performance monitoring and diagnostic (NPMD) functionalities based on the most powerful flow data exporter. Yes, you heard me right, on the market that generates down to the application level and measures performance at the microsecond. The second, which I'm sure why most of you guys are here today, is Progress LoadMaster, the world's most popular load balancer with greater than 100,000 deployments globally. LoadMaster is super easy to deploy, manage, and publish applications. Gartner peer review rates Progress Kemp LoadMaster as the highest reviewed application delivery controller available on the market. I do want to hear from you guys after the talk. So please grab my email address and do reach out. Yes, it's exactly how it sounds and it's pronounced. It's nasir.hussain@progress.com. I know that was a little cheesy, corny joke, but you'll forgive me for that. All right, with the shenanigans out of the way, as well as the introductions, let's dig into the webinar. The topics that we're going to be discussing for today's talks are as follows. What is a load balancer? Why use a load balancer? The load balancing methodologies, types of load balancers available in AWS, why use Progress Kemp Load Balancer, and last, Kemp LM360. So to start it off, the first question that we're going to try to answer is what is a load balancer? Now, according to the definition, it's a high performance application delivery controller and load balancer that enhances availability, scalability, and security. I don't know about you, but that doesn't tell me much. So, in a non complicated definition, it's a device that distributes connection from clients between a set of servers. A load balancer acts as a reverse proxy to represent the application server to the client through a virtual IP address. I also would like to simplify this discussion. So instead of me calling this a load balance, instead of me referring to this as an application delivery controller or an ADC, I'm going to use the term load balancer and load master interchangeably from this point forward. To make this fun, let's keep account and see how many times I do mess up and I have not committed to what I am going to say. And you can let me know in the chat, by the way. So, with a, an understanding of what a load balancer is, why should we use one? Or why should you use one? Or why should everyone use one? First and foremost is scalability. The application can scale beyond the capacity of a single server. The load balancer works to steer traffic to a pool of available servers through various load balancing algorithms. If more resources are needed, additional servers can be added. Second is going to be efficiency. The load balancer monitors the servers by performing regular health checks. If a server or a group of servers is performing slowly, the load balancer distributes traffic to other servers in the pool. If a server or a group of servers fails completely, the load balancer is going to reroute the traffic to another group of servers until those servers are be able to come back in rotation. Redundancy. This is very important. We want to prevent single point of failure. So the load balancer offers high availability, guarantees the availability of your server farm. They operate in a hot standby failover mechanism. One machine serves as an active load balancer, and the second remains in a standby idle state, always prepared to take over the activities from the active server. This cluster appears to be as a single logical unit on the internet side as well as on the server farm side as well. The next is going to be security. This is going to be big. Security is the focal point of every organization. And because the load balancer is sitting in between the client and the application, managing those connections, it has the ability to perform other functions. The load balancer can perform content switching, content-based security like web application firewall, and authentication enhancements like two-factor authentication. What does all of this get us? It reduces our downtime. And reduction of downtime is a result of everything that we've mentioned already. We're able to scale our application workloads instantly, remove servers instantly that are not performing at their optimal level, inspect packets to ensure that there isn't anything malicious reaching our servers. This ensures that we are always on, always available to meet our customers' needs. So, what types of load balancers are available? So, we'll start off with the AWS. The different AWS load balancers available. The first is going to be an NLB or a network load balancer. A network load balances network traffic at layer 4, provides protocol-based load balancing on TCP, UDP, and TLS traffic on the network. Connections are routed to targets on VPCs. Billions of operations per second are supported by AWS network load balancers, NLB, and sudden change in traffic can handle without the load balancer being overloaded. The second one is going to be a GLB, a gateway load balancer. The gateway load balancer enables you to deploy, scale, and manage virtual appliances such as firewalls, IPS and IDS systems. It has the ability to do deep packet system inspections. It combines this transparency network gateway. This is a single point of entry and exit for all your traffic and distributes traffic while scaling your virtual appliance with demand. The third type of load balancer that is available is an ALB. This is an application load balancer, best suited for load balancing HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Provides the ability to route requests with a modern application deployment using virtual machines, containers, and microservices, all working in unison to deliver an application or service. This works at a layer 7 and operates within the Amazon Virtual Private Cloud or a VPC instance. So now examining the AWS NLB and ALB in a little bit more depth. The NLB is going to be predominantly used if you need load balancing at a layer 4. So this is not going to give you any of the layer 7 functionalities, but it's going to provide you with really fast speeds. But because of that, you're going to be limited to the options that you have available as far as the stickiness as well as the scheduling or load balancing methodology. If you want layer 7 load balancing functionalities, including layer 7 health checks and additional scheduling methods, then you want to go with the ALB load balancer option available on AWS. This will also give you the ability to do content-based routing and other layer 7 functionalities. Now let's compare this to what the Progress Kemp load balancer has to offer. This is not a comprehensive list of all of the persistence, health checks, and load balancing methodology, the scheduling method that you have. The load balancer gives you the option and the flexibility right at your fingertips for all of your application needs. So does one of your application need to be load balanced on layer 4 while the other application needs to be load balanced on layer 7? You can do that all in one single place. The load balancer has you covered. Is your server setting a cookie and you'd want the load balancer to utilize that cookie for persistent connections for incoming requests, the load master can go ahead and use that server set cookie for the persistence option. Do you want all of your traffics to go to one primary server and only in the event of a failover, then you want to reroute traffic to the secondary server? You can use fixed weighting, or you can use weighted round robin to go ahead and distribute traffic however you like. The point is that the Progress Kemp Balancer has many options for whatever your application need in one place. Simple to configure, easy to manage, and most importantly, quick to troubleshoot when an issue arises. Combine this with the pre-configured templates available for quick deployment, and you can see why so many customers choose Progress Kemp load balancers. So, how does so what we've spoken about is general load balancing. Now let's talk specifically about the Progress Kemp load balancer. If you look at, I would like for you to start first and foremost, look at the trust radius score. And the Roadmaster is highly rated. Enterprise, commercial, federal, and SMB orgs needs a reliable and secure solution to deliver their crucial apps for both internal and external consumers of their data. It is a requirement to have a solid product that delivers exceptional value at a price point that is also attractive to the wallet. This is key, and we're going to get into this in a little bit. So, how does the load balancer actually up the load balancing game? First and foremost, it is super, super simple to configure. Um, and I'm not just saying this because I might be biased, but um, once you take a look at the load balancer, you will understand, especially if you've had experience with other ADC vendors. Point and click provision is embedded into the solution to greatly simplify deploying new web apps and ensuring that managing those web apps isn't going to be a cumbersome experience. We spoke about price a little bit, but unmatched value and cost savings. When I refer to this, I really mean this, that when you are utilizing the Kemp load balancer and you compare it with the other ADC vendors or even native cloud balancers, you're typically getting 5 times the performance per dollar invested. 5 times. That is not a joke. When issues occur, and we all know issues are occurring, whether you're a DevOps, whether you're a NetOps, whether you're a SysOps engineer, we are very well familiar with issues arising. So when does the issue arise? How are you going to go ahead and troubleshoot this issue? The root cause analysis, how long is that going to take you? Right? Because this is something the management and the C-suite is going to look at and going to appreciate how quickly can we come to a resolution. This is why the LoadMaster has embedded network telemetry functionalities built into this for solving issues without grief and within a timely manner. LoadMaster doesn't simply leverage other vendors' S flows or highly sampled data. It has embedded IP fixed NetFlow with loads and loads of layer 7 details to ensure that your problem solving can be efficient and quick. Now, what ends up happening is that when we want to when we want to contact the vendor, what type of experience are we want to experience with? The last thing that we want is for someone who isn't an expert or who is not able to understand our problems and our requirements and effectively address those issues. The Loadmaster support team is bar none the best in the industry, and we have the data to prove it. We saw the trust radius score, right? Well, here's my personal conviction. I'm going to open a parenthesis over here. And this might be a biased statement that might be coming from me, but I started with the organization 8 years ago. I started on the support side, and then I ran the support team before transitioning over to sales, or as I like to call it, the dark side. My personal conviction is that one of the reasons that we have such a high trust radius score is because of our support team. They are literally, and I mean this with my wholehearted conviction, second to none in the industry. And that's not because I am saying that and because I live in that organization and that lifestyle, but because our customers are telling this over and over again. The two things that we hear from the customers are this product is really easy to use and your support is awesome. I'm going to close the parentheses here. Also, a fun fact, our entire technical pre-sales team are ex-support engineers. And I say ex just because of the title. You can take a person out of support, but you can't take support out of a person. Hashtag support for life. Okay, okay, I'm done. I promise. I'll try to keep my shenanigans to a minimum. So, how is the load balancer enhancing application delivery? We do this in categorize this in three different buckets: application resilience and performance, application protection and access control, enablement of multi-cloud application. Let's look into each one of these one by one and see what we mean. First and foremost, resilience. If our application isn't accessible, nothing else matters. The load balancer ensures that your application is available at all times, making sure that the traffic is balanced across all the servers. And in the event that something does fail, or an application server or an application is not performing at the highest level, it's instantly taken out of rotation to ensure business continuity. It also has the ability to distribute workloads and route traffic across multiple sites as well as multiple geographical locations. I'm going to add a little thing over here as well as multiple vendors. Performance. We want something that is going to be performing at the highest level. The load balancer offers the ability to offload encryption to the load balancer to reduce the overhead on the application servers. Paired up with caching and compression ensures the best possible application experience to our customers. With application protection and access control, ZTAG, ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access. This is integrated with identity access management, an intelligent policy application for traffic steering to enable strong controls for critical workloads and services. Pre-authentication and single sign-on. Control access at the perimeter by authenticating and authorizing users before authorizing application access. When I'm talking to my customers, I always tell them that I'd rather have an intruder stopped at the fence than I reject them at the front door. Pre-authentication, single sign-on gives us exactly that. Web application firewall. The Kemp's web application firewall helps protect your customers and off-the-shelf appliances from common vulnerabilities such as SQL injection, cross-site scripting. Kemp also lets you create custom per application security profiles to ensure source location leveling filtering, adopt pre-integration rule sets for common attack vendors, and custom security rule sets. Enablement of multi-cloud application. Organizations are increasingly taking hybrid and multi-cloud approach and delivering modern application architectures using technologies such as Kubernetes. Progress, Progress Kemp Load Balancer provides a unified answer to the challenges rise with a consistent and easy to use application. Deliver a platform that drives operational efficiency and offers visibility across clouds. The load balancer simplifies operation with a single application delivery platform across all cloud that is highly automated and easy to learn. Integrated Kubernetes, ingress controller, and API gateway with advanced load balancing and security capabilities. Securely delivering APIs and keeping pace with API target threats is a significant challenge, and this challenge is multiplied with each API published. LoadMaster's API gateway consolidates multiple APIs and enables selective publishing of API functions, WAF, authentication, rate limiting, and request routing along and logging those metrics. Now, I want to take a step away from our conversation with the load balancer, and I want to share with you what we've learned. So, what we have done is that when we're talking about data, we need to know what data is real and what data is not. What we have done is that we have hired a company, EMA, Enterprise Management Associates. They are an industry analyst firm that knows the application delivery controller markets really well. We wanted to hear from the experts on the topic and share the details with you so that you can benefit along with us. It's a fact. Wise leaders listen to good data before they make key decisions that will affect success of their business endeavors. So, what have we learned from this EMA report? First and foremost, what we've done is that they have conducted 315 surveys and 6 one-on-one interviews to drill into the specifics. This is going to give us a key in-depth understanding of what is it that the customers, the markets are looking for and what do they want. So what did we learn from our money well spent? First and foremost, we want something that is ease of implementation, right? Easy to implement, easy to deliver. It is the most important business requirement cited for the selection of vendors. It is notable focus on capital expense versus operational expenditure. And in this case, operational impact is of prime importance. There were some considerations that were referenced in the report. Is this is this technology that we're using? Is it easy to configure? Does your team require training for proprietary scripts? And how quickly can we scale? Configuration complexity. It affects all of us, our business, our application, and our services, right? So if something is not easy to deploy and manage, there's a hefty investment in upskilling, which is going to cause some issues. So when we do find a vendor, how easy is it to implement their product? So we have deployed the load balancer and we need to scale because of our application demands from the users. How easy is to do that? Will it take hours, days, or weeks to implement this? This was something that was critical for our customers. Security, as we mentioned earlier, security is the foremost in every single conversation that we're having. In the EMA research, organizations say that security is the top feature requirements for their load balancing solutions. If you think about it, it's over application acceleration and observability. They found that security risk and incidents are the top drivers of change in load balancing strategies. Yes, you heard that right. Security risk and incidents are top drivers of change. So we know security is the first and foremost. And this is something that we don't take lightly. As a general statement, engineers typically don't think of load balancing vendors as security vendors. The typical load balancing engineer thinks of load balancing platforms as a network solution. And it's understandable because they live on the network layer. So, some things that we should consider, right? Are you working closely with your security team? Are they aware that you have a load balancer on in your organization? And can it increase application security? Is this going to help make our lives easier, or is this just going to be another thing that we have to manage and then hopefully not, but criticized? Do you have security features enabled now? So, is your security team involved when we are having this conversation about considering a load balancing vendor? Do they know the powers of enabling load balancers to decrypt traffic, inspect the data integrity with the WAF, and forward traffic that is golden, meaning that that is vetted? We know that the traffic that we're going to be sending to our back end, we are certain that this is the traffic that is meant to go there and it's not tampered with whatsoever? Or is this a functionality that is not being used currently and that's being offset, right? This is the overwhelming majority of connected institutions do not decrypt traffic on the border firewalls and then re-encrypt to send those packets to the load balancer because the cost for sizing the firewall for a heavy load of decryption and recryption is especially large. Right? We want to think about this is that how taxing is this going to be on our perimeter devices? Remember, application-based firewalls are specialty that is enabled on the load balancer. So we have firewall, and then we are looking at specific requests made to the application. They perform this task amazingly well, and as a general statement, security is a must. Everyone knows this. No one is gonna have a conversation or a debate that we don't need security. The question is, how much security and how much security do we need? And is too much security a bad thing? I don't think that is a question that anyone's gonna ask. Last thing that we learned from them is a single pane of glass for management, right? About 39% of survey respondents told EMA that they prefer to manage their load balancers via a centralized management platform offered by their load balancing vendor. Some of them are using a third party vendor, but what they want is a entire package from their load balancing vendor. Centralized management is key for simplifying observation, gaining real time health alerts and security notifications to ensure a standard SLA or service level agreement that a company has established and they can achieve. The days of managing each individual component that assists in publishing application is gone. Our networks are too vast and we are too busy to be managing each application by itself. Really good technical talent, especially with the security focus, is hard to come by. Look at any of the published articles on the skill set of cybersecurity, and you'll see that it's a major demand for IT professionals. Bottom line, complexity needs to be removed from our organization. How can we make our jobs of our net ops and our sys ops or our dev ops engineer as easy as possible? Because there's already too much things on their plates right now. So ease of implementation matters. That was one of the things that we spoke about. The other thing mentioned was security, and now single management, the single pane of glass for management, right? So these are some of the things that we need to consider. If you have, let's say, 4 pairs of load balancers running in your environment with, I don't know, 10 applications per load balancers. Can you just imagine how much of a cumbersome task it is to log into each one of those pairs and look at the health of your application? So you must be asking to yourself right now, this here, get to the point, man. So what? What are you doing over here? So just to summarize what we're talking about is what we want an application that is fully featured commercial load balancer, one appliance with simple support subscription bundle that packs prerequisites publishing functionality in super to easy consume purchasing model rather than purchasing individual SKUs for each individual requirements of ours for different functionalities, right? If you want security, if you want web application firewall, is that going to be another SKU? If you want layer 4 load balancing, it's going to be another SKU. It's going to be layer 7 load balancing. Is that going to be another SKU? Do you want to do content switching? What do I need? I want everything consolidated in one area. You also want your configuration to be super simple. I do not want to spend time learning a new scripting language to go ahead and deploy my load balancer. I want to point and click. And if there are templates that I can deploy and just configure my real service on the backend and call it a day, man, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. Now, there's one thing that when we were looking at the EMA report, one thing that I did not shed a light on, because as NetOps engineers, as our SysOp engineers, as engineers, we're not usually part of this conversation. And this is a conversation more for the management, but it's about cost. You and I cannot avoid this conversation, but it's not something that we can also take lightly. So let's just do a comparison. For example, I need 3 gigs of throughput, right? Now, if I want to deploy the native AWS load balancer and I need layer 7 functionalities, so I will need an ALS load balancer, right? Application load balancer. What is that going to cost us? Wanna take a guess? It's about 30 grand. You're going to spend about 30 grand for 3 gigs worth of throughput deploying an ALB. Now, let's compare that to Kemp. How much is that going to come in? It's going to come in under 5K. That's 6x the savings compared to that. Oh, by the way, this does not include layer 4, right? If you, let's say, need a layer 7 load balancing application and then you also need a layer 4 load balancer, that's going to be another 25K out of your pocket. While the load balancer from Progress Camp offers both of the functionality for under 5K. I mean, the cost savings is it's fractional of the price. So the question that one asks is, why are these other solutions so expensive? And that's a really good question to ask. The load balancer delivers exceptional value per dollar spent, or whatever currency that you're going to operate with, right? So last but not least, when we were talking about centralized management, that's what we spoke about earlier. We're going to take this time and introduce the centralized management platform that uh, Progress Camp has to offer. We knew about 39% wanted a centralized management platform from their load balancing vendor. We've listened to that. And then what we've done is that we have come up with a solution. It's called the LoadMaster 360, or we'll refer to it as LM360. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and sign in and look under the hood to see what it offers today and what is coming down the pipeline. Now, this conversation is going to be a brief conversation and it's intentional because I do want you to reach out to me. I want to speak to you. I want to talk to you. I want to hear from you. So that's why I'm going to keep this conversation brief and I want to keep enough time for if there's any questions. Okay. And again, this is future proofing in our discussion, in our investment, in our organization. Remember my email address that I gave you in the beginning? It's exactly how it sounds like nasir.hussain@progress.com. You can go back and grab that. So what does the LM360 have to offer? All of these dashboards are configurable. We're not telling you what dashboards you have to look at. Rather, we are giving you the flexibility to look at the information that you'd want to look at. It offers a lot of flexibility in creating the dashboard and the widgets, allowing you to see everything in one centralized screen. There's more. Like I said, this is a teaser so that I can have you hopefully reach out to me if I haven't bored you too much with this conversation. You want to view specific applications? Do you want to know which protocols are being used? And at what time of the day which of these protocols that are being used? Do you want to know the health of the load balancer as well as the traffic load uh, of that device itself and not the application? Do you want to know the memory, the CPU that is being consumed? Well, this tool can show you all of that. Now, just to show you what's there today and what's coming down the pipeline, this is everything that LM360 has to offer. Certificate lifecycle management, application analytics, authentication management, application delivery issue management, license management, usability and experience, single pane of glass, which was super important, and things that are coming soon. So if you look at the coming soon section, we have a host of new powerful features that are being built into this platform. Remember when we spoke earlier about there are two products that I personally am responsible for? Well, our product lineup has more features, right? In our progress lineup. One of them is Chef. So with this, what we have done is that we have leveraged one of the products in the lineup for uh, deployment automation. In the coming soon section, you see that Progress Chef is the configuration management, policy management, and enforcement engine. So yes, this is going to be super cool because this is going to give you a functionality of not needing to go anywhere, and this is going to be your one-stop shop. Also, earlier that we had mentioned that how The load balancer has network telemetry built into it, and one of the products that I was responsible for is Flowmon. This is built in under the hood. So what you can do is that you can go ahead and export that telemetry device and data to the collector, and you can see on a forensics level what is happening. Now, I don't have the time to go into that product. I really wish I can, but what we're trying to do is that it make it a one-stop shop for all of your organizational needs. So let's talk about our takeaway, right? We've listened to the industry. We've heard from our customers and potential customers of what they would like in ADC. I hope you're keeping track because I said ADC vendor. And what we've done is we have provided that so that this can hopefully ensure a easy to use product. And when it comes time, you're going to be highly impressed with the functionalities this product has to offer. So just to wrap it up and to sum it up, what have we spoken about? We've spoken about what a load balancer is. We've spoken about why is there a need to use a load balancer, the different types of load balancers that are available in AWS, and the load balancer Progress Kemp has to offer, as well as our single pane of glass centralized management tool. I really want to thank you for investing your time with me today. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this entire presentation. And I want you to be part of this journey and beyond. So please do reach out if you have any questions, any concerns. If I've said anything incorrectly or if I have misspoken, please reach out. Let me know either in the Q&A section or via my email, and I will not be offended. I would love to learn and grow as an engineer itself. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Awesome job, Nasir. For those of you on the call, I'd just like to remind you that you can feel free to submit your questions using the questions panel, which is in the lower portion of your screen. You may need to you may need to expand that panel to leverage it. Currently, I see one question, and that question is in regards to the demo that you performed on the LoadMaster 360 Nasir. And the question is, someone wants to know if it is possible to obtain a full demo of that product. What I can do is go ahead and put a link to request that in our announcements. So you will receive that link. But again, just reminding you all that if you want to ask any more questions, feel free to use the questions panel. If not, then we will conclude today's session, and a recording of today's session will be made available via email within the coming days.
So just to answer that question, you can absolutely get a full demo of the LM360. Please reach out to someone from the sales side or Rochelle. They can connect you with myself or one of my colleagues who are just as experts in this topic. So we would love to show you a full demo of the LM360 product.
Perfect. And what I did, I went ahead and placed in the announcements a link that you can leverage to obtain a demo of our new LM360 product. Well, Nasir, I don't see any additional questions at this time. So I suppose we can conclude today's webinar. Thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. And what I will also do is I will also share Nasir's personal information. Feel free to follow Progress Kemp LoadMaster on all of our social media channels. And also feel free to follow Nasir on LinkedIn. Thank you.